You're listening to the Sports Circus, and I'm Mike Golick.
You can put it on the board. Yes! Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all, those gigantic and massive cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call to find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! And a big welcome in everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast. Everybody watching in select markets on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectra, Wow, Charter, and independent cable affiliates. Hotel TV where applicable. Everybody also on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Thanks for joining us today. Folks, if you don't know what that is, go to Facebook, check out Chicago Food Favorites. It's a fun group. Talk about your favorite restaurants, your favorite foods, your favorite recipes. Make some friends. Have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. By the way, our friends over at Vacation Buddies want you to have a couple of nights in Las Vegas, Branson, Missouri, or Orlando, Florida, if you can answer this simple trivia question. Which NBA superstar has won 6 NBA championships? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. If you know the answer to that simple trivia question, which NBA superstar won 6 NBA titles? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? And that is furnished by Vacation Buddies. And remember, although they don't work with us in this radio station, they're not affiliated with the station, they do want to give you a couple of nights in Vegas or in Branson or Orlando. Call them right now, 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Call them now. Yes. All right. Now that we got all that out of the way, we're going to turn our attention to Unbreakable Records, or what seems to be unbreakable records in the sporting world. And with us today is Mr. You Know, and that would be Jerry from Kentucky. Jerry, thanks for joining us today here on the Circus.
Hi, Sal. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, sir. You know? All right. All right. So listen, I mean, you're a sports guy. We're in the same fantasy baseball league and stuff like that. Of course, we're not going to timestamp this show, so we can play it whenever we want to. But let's do this. Let's consider the idea of these so-called unbreakable records. And you know, I said it for you, you know. Let's go ahead and start in the NBA, because there's a lot of those questions. Because baseball, we're going to spend a lot of time on baseball. But thinking about the NBA. The NBA, look, there are some records that you just shudder when you think about. And the first one that comes to mind is 100 points in a game, and that was Wilt Chamberlain. Mind you, that was without a three-point line, and that happened way back before you and I were born in 1962. Wilt scored 100 points against the Warriors, but that was the Philadelphia Warriors against the New York Knickerbockers. And of course, that record is widely considered unbreakable due to the sheer volume of points scored in the game. And let's face it, even with the three-point line, Kobe Bryant tried to do it, but Kobe couldn't do it. He got 81, and it's like, I don't even know how many shots he took, but the point is, Kobe was a really good shooter, but if Kobe couldn't do it with most of the shots taken in the game, Jerry, is that one unbreakable or not?
just like you said, not even having a 3-point shot, that just seems crazy. I'm not sure that one's going to get broken.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I just don't think. First of all, there's so much money being spent in the game, and too many people have to touch the ball. You know what I mean?
Right.
So since these players have hundreds of millions of dollars tied to their contracts, it seems like everybody has to touch the ball to a degree, at least those players that make those crazy, crazy dollars. And honestly, with all the load management and all the other load of BS at this point, is it even possible to score 70 points anymore?
Not with how they have to distribute the ball. It doesn't seem like that's even going to be close anymore.
No, I don't think so either. I don't really think so. But if there was a player that could do it in the NBA, who do you think could do it in today's NBA?
That's a really good question.
I don't know. I'm just asking the question. I mean, I don't really have any feedback on it. I would think that if you just keep throwing the ball down low, Wemby might be able to, I guess, come close. Because at that height and with that wingspan, boy, he is a tough guy to guard. The problem is he's so thin and seemingly frail, right? All 7'4" of him, whatever the heck he is. And I mean, he's a hell of a player, and he's a hell of a guy out of France. He's one of those guys that just have all the great character makeups of the game. And Zach Edey over with the Memphis Grizzlies, of course, a Purdue Boilermaker. Got to like that. So the big Zach Edey at 7'4", if you just keep feeding him the ball, he'll still probably end up with 60. I just can't see anybody end up with 70, 80, 90, I mean, let alone the 100 points. It just seems remarkably impossible.
I totally agree.
All right, well, let's move past that one. How about the 50.4 points per game in a single season? Oh, yes, and by the way, that goes right back to Wilt the Stilt. Same year, 1962, we averaged over 50 points a game. I mean, the closest anyone came to that was Michael Jordan, and that was, geez, when Mike was just a couple of years into the league at 1986-87, he averaged 37.1. And that was Mike when he had basically no collar or no leash on him, and he was out just scoring at will. Can you imagine an extra 13 points a game?
There's just not that many that even get to 50, much less every game, but continue to do that on a consistent basis.
Right. You know, Jerry, there was no answer for Wilt. And by the way, he had no three-point line. Mike had a three-point line when he was playing in 86-87. But still, that is just an enormous order. There was nobody that could cover Wilt, and that's really what it was. It was kind of like having one of those 7-foot-tall kids in junior high, just feed him the ball, give him the ball every time, if you know what I mean. Right? I mean, and really, that's all you could do. You just applaud and say, thank you very much. Let's move on to the next one. How about this one? Okay, so now I know this one with the load management. I don't ever believe this will be broken. 48.5 minutes per game played in a single season. No way. No way, no how.
They just are so physical up and down the court now. I just can't see that being broken as well.
Yeah. How about AC Green's 1,192 consecutive games played? That seems to be almost impossible. And the reason being is because he had this load management thing. So with this guy or that guy, I don't care how many years they play in the league. The reality is 1,192 games. I mean, think about it. 82 games in a season, right? So you're talking what? 10, 12, 14, somewhere around 15 seasons. I'm just going to throw a number out there. It's about 15 seasons. Never mind all the playoff games. And remember, the Lakers during those years, they were winning championships too. When AC Green was playing, he was just one of those guys. And he was just as dependable as the chemtrails in the sky every day. And we know that those are dependable every day. In fact, in our skies, they go southwest to northeast every day. They start at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And, of course, they run all the way through the night. How about John Stockton's 15,806 career assists? That seems completely insane.
Yes, it does.
Listen.
I think he will probably keep that record for a long time, if not forever.
Look, he played for 19 seasons and consistently led the league in assists. You know what? John Stockton was our regular basketball guy for a little bit of time here on the Sports Circus as well. One hell of a guy, just a regular guy. And we like John for a lot of reasons because he definitely speaks his mind, but he's just like one of us. And so my thing was when he first started, he goes, well, geez, I don't want to make a mistake on air and this and that. I'm like, John, how many games have you played as a basketball player? How many reps have you taken in practice? How many this? How many that? Look, you've been in the NBA Finals a couple of times. Unfortunately, you ran into Mike. But the point is, how many times have you done things and not worried about making mistakes? The same thing on air. It's not a big deal, man. You could do this. It's easy. It's like, well, I don't want to make a mistake. And I don't blame him. But at the same time, when you are what you are, you're a Hall of Famer, and he just eats, sleeps, and thinks basketball, but he's also just a regular guy. I mean, you can't beat that with a baseball bat. And honestly, when you think about what happens with those guys that no longer play their sport anymore, you almost wonder, what do you do after your career's over? Take 10 seconds to talk about that real quick.
You want, basically when your career's over, right now I think there's so many that are making plans so that they can have a good career afterwards. And so I think that's real important that they make sure they're making smart decisions for themselves.
Yeah, I would agree. And listen, folks, we're going to come back with this in just a few minutes here on the Sports Circus with Jerry from Kentucky. Back here in a few minutes. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for Chaos and Controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportcircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on credit worthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your credit worthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. Folks, check them out. All right, welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, including our friends over in Atlanta. Thanks for waking up with us on WDJY 99.1 FM. Thanks for driving home with us on WAUD 1230 on the AM dial over in Auburn, Alabama. That is home of the Atlanta Braves. Welcoming everybody else up and down the Midwest, throughout the West Coast. Everybody driving back and forth between LA and Las Vegas. Listening in on 101.5 FM and 107.3 FM Highway Country Radio. Thanks for joining us there. Up and down the West Coast, up to Anchorage, Alaska. Yes, all the way down to CBS Sports 1500 KHKA over in Honolulu. And that is home of the Yankees, 49ers, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Plus, welcoming everybody on TV. You know who you are, whether it's cable provider or hotel TV, and also Chicago food favorites. Thanks for joining us there. And folks, in case you missed it in the last segment, Vacation Buddies has given away a couple of nights right here in Las Vegas or in Branson, Missouri, or in Orlando, Florida. If you can answer this simple trivia question, which NBA superstar has won six, we'll count them, 6 NBA titles? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Again, which NBA superstar has won 6 NBA titles? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? 888-576-5777. Now, of course, Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this station, but they want you to have a couple of nights in Vegas, in Branson, or in Orlando. Call them right now, 888-576-577 with the answer to that trivia question. Yes! All right, back here with Jerry from Kentucky, and we are talking about Unbreakable Records left off in the NBA. Going to run over just a couple of more of these. You know, Bill Russell's NBA championships, he had 11 of them, Jerry, and look, that's a lot. That is a lot. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
It is. I know, and you don't really have a lot to say about the NBA, but I get it. But look at it this way. If Mike didn't, well, have his convenient retirement, if you will, in the middle of his career, then maybe Mike would have been able to do it. But moving on, how about Scott Skiles and 30 assists in a single game? I think that's breakable. That's absolutely breakable. Somebody's going to do it at some point. And that one, I wouldn't say it's unbreakable. And then, of course, there were seven different times, I guess, most personal fouls in a single game. And like some records, I mean, look, there are notable records, there are notable, I guess, fouls in basketball, but that's one of those ones that we'll just kind of leave alone. What do you say we move on over to the NCAA football? Now, this is something you can identify with, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. So let's take a look at some of these. How about Oklahoma's 47-game winning streak? That's crazy. I mean, spanning literally multiple seasons. And it's considered one of the most difficult to break. And I don't think anybody's ever going to break that one. Is there a team? I think Nick Saban's teams could have done it, you know, with all the cupcakes that they put on their schedule. But then again, they played in a pretty good league, being the SEC. What do you think?
With how it's all stacked up now, I don't think that's going to be touched.
I don't think there's a team that could do it. Georgia might come close to it, or they could have come close to it. But the way, like you said, they stack them up, I just don't think so. How about Barry Sanders' single-season rushing yards for 2,628? That is insane.
That definitely is insane. And now you've got so many, the passing games so emphasized now. It's going to take one special back to even attempt that.
Right, and we saw Ashton Jeanty with a great season a year ago in college football. And I mean, he was just a very, very special player. Just, again, he landed, I think, in the wrong system with the Raiders right here in town. I don't think he's going to get a chance to do what he can do, and he's going to probably be the second or third option on the offense for the Raiders, unfortunately. Yet Pete Carroll's one hell of a coach. Maybe he'll get a little bit more. Maybe he'll be second option. I just don't think he'll be first option, that's for sure. They'll put him on a short leash if that's the case.
Yeah, it'll be curious because he can catch the ball and he can run, so they should really utilize him a bunch. But like you said, there's different options there that they're going to be looking at first.
What's the biggest college football score, biggest blowout you ever could remember?
I'm not going to remember what teams, but I remember once seeing something like 79 or 81 to 3, and one was to nothing, but I don't remember what the team was. But the score, and that's what I remember.
Well, how about this one? How about Georgia Tech, way back in the time machine, playing a school called Cumberland? Yeah, let's clear the throat on this one. Georgia Tech ran the score up a little bit to the tune of 222 to nothing. 222 to nothing. That's insane.
Taught me something new again.
Hey, listen, I taught me something new by reading that one. That's unbelievable. I never knew that. That's back in 1916. How about this? How about Mike Hart's 1,005 consecutive rushing attempts without a fumble? Now, that's pretty damn impressive. That's according to Sports Illustrated, by the way. That is insane. Over 1,000 tries without a fumble.
That's crazy.
Oh, you know, whatever came of Mike Hart? I don't really recall seeing him in the record books in the NFL. Do you?
No, I do not.
No. How about Nebraska's sellout streak? That's pretty impressive. Now, they had a remarkable streak of consecutive home sellouts, which is a testimony, of course, to the fact that there's nothing to do over in Lincoln, Nebraska. I mean, what is there to do there? It's the edge of the earth. We know a guy named Lou that lives not too terribly far from there, and he's, I think, in Omaha, but, geez, this is still about an hour or so west, and that is literally the edge of the cornfield and the edge of the earth for all you flat earthers out there. That's one of the corners of the earth, apparently. I mean, man, I remember they just went seasons and seasons. I think they went a decade or two without having the stadium not full, basically having them full every time. How about Alabama's 27-game winning streak against the SEC? That seems like it could be breakable, but then again, as they keep expanding the SEC, right now with Oklahoma and Texas are in the SEC, and it seems like those two schools, all they do is play offense. So if you're going to beat that record, I suppose, in the SEC, you're going to have to be able to play defense. That's really it. Because the teams that only play offense, we know that obviously they don't really have much defense, right? They're just going to try to outscore you 59 to 58 every game.
Right. And they're going to have to keep bringing in those players year after year. And with it all changing every year, that's going to be really tough to do.
Okay. What about 36 consecutive passes completed? I think that's real with the dink and dunk game that we see today's time. That's from a guy by the name of Dominique Davis from East Carolina, the Pirates of East Carolina. 36 consecutive, that will be broken.
I agree. Like you said, there's just too many little short passes to where you don't see them airing it out. They're just, playing it safe.
What about all those shovel passes? First time I ever saw a shovel pass that actually counted for the pass stats was back with John Elway. Remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How about Nick Seba's 34 consecutive field goals made? Now, that's not extra points. That's just regular field goals.
I think it's going to depend on, like now, because over 50 is nothing, but just depending on where they're from. If they're all within 50 yards, that's a possibility, but the odds are they're going to have some that are a lot farther back. So a tough one to break.
Okay. All right. And one final one for NCAA. How about John Reeves' 9 interceptions in a single game? That's nuts.
That is crazy.
I don't know who they were playing, but I don't care who they were playing. 9 interceptions in NCAA in one game? I mean, that's probably more than any single receiver on the team had, if you know what I mean.
That's more than most will have in a season alone.
Well, I wonder, I guess my bigger question is, as we run to the end of the segment here, I wonder if there were any financial transactions in that game.
Show me the money!
I wonder if that was a part of it. What do you think about that?
It's a very good possibility.
I don't know, man. I mean, 9 interceptions? Who the hell heard of that one? I've never heard of that before. And the listening audience, folks, listen, if you have heard of that one before, then you're a better person than I am, because I sure as hell don't know. I did not know. And I eat, sleep, think, and breathe sports every day of my life. And so if you knew that one, I'll give you a nice round of applause. But for me personally, hell no. All right, we're going to be back here in a few minutes with Jerry from Kentucky talking about sports records that appear unbreakable moving into baseball. No, better yet, we're going to do NFL first, then we'll jump into baseball when we return. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
I'm gonna barbecue your ass in molasses!
You'll get your chance, smart guy.
I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportcircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello Americans, it's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business.
Oh, Norman! Don't call me Norman. Call me Chubsy Ubsy.
IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a $500 IRS tax review. Don't
Leave him alone.
Here's the number.
Quiet now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time. That's 800-950.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. B-E-E-P-I-N autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Excellent.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows which we found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart, YouTube, Stitcher, Deezer, plus many more. Also, make sure you check out the partners page at thesportscircus.com. Lots of great partners over there. One of our favorites is Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. And if you can't make it over there for some great food, check them out at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. Read all about the incredible food, the Italian beef sandwich, the history. They are the ones that created it 117 years ago, still serving it up. They've been in business for, since 1938. How do you like them apples? Man, that is a lot of time to be serving up incredible food. And make sure when you head over there, or if you check them out online, if you're going to pick something up, tell them the circus sent you. Maybe they'll give you an extra French fry or something. Who the hell knows? But boy, that food is awfully good. Yes! All right. Welcome back to everybody. Radio, TV, you know who you are. And we are back here with Jerry from Kentucky. And Jerry and I are in the same fantasy sports leagues and whatnot. And we're going to get to baseball in just a little bit. And of course, he's one of those guys that likes to get out to an early lead. And sometimes the wheels come off. I'm not really sure if it's going to. But anyway, Jerry's being a good sport. And Jerry is a really decent human. And also happens to be the father of a very, very talented country music artist. As a matter of fact, Jerry, why don't you tell everybody about your boy?
Well, my son's Jason Owens, and you can find him at jasonowensmusic.com, on social media at Jason Owens Music, and you can stream him anywhere you stream music, and just type in Jason Owens. And one of his songs right now, a real popular song, is Drunk Dial, Slow and Steady, or The Road.
All right. That's great stuff. And we'll give him the super applause. Yes! That's good stuff. Yeah, you know, Jason is one hell of a guy. And look, I'm not just saying that. I mean, really, he's one of the good guys. And for all those people out there that always, you're supposed to surround yourself with winners, right? Because winners win. He's just one of those guys. And I'm not saying that because it's your boy. I'm saying that because he really is one of those guys.
He really is. He's got a good heart and wants to help people, and he's not all about himself, which is something I really respect. He works hard. His goal is to someday be a member of the Grand Ole Opry, and he is not full of himself. He just kind of will do what he needs to do, and he doesn't have an ego, and that's kind of rare sometimes in this type of business, but his mother did a really good job.
Well, I mean, look, both of the parents did a really good job with him, and honestly, from giving him good direction to good sound advice and having a good stable home and doing everything that you did for him. I mean, let's face it, I'm not trying to build you up or nothing, because I mean, you know as well as I do, I don't do that stuff. No! No, but what I do, I also recognize good humans that do good stuff for people. And Jason's one of those guys. And by the way, folks, if you are listening, driving back and forth between Vegas and LA and your next trip back to Vegas, or if you're just arriving into town, this guy does play Vegas. In fact, he's played over 200 shows at major strip properties right here in town. And you know what? The people dig him. And the venues dig him, whether it's at the MGM or at the Resort World or Old Red, whatever. Listen, folks, he's worth your time. And if you can't make it to one of his shows, of course, check his show schedule at Jason Owens Music. Check his tour schedule. And if he's not in Vegas right here when you're here, you can always go to jasonowensmusic.com and schedule a trip around there, or listen to some of his music, download him, follow him on social media, whatnot. It's fun. Hey, it's a shameless plug, but you know what? He's actually worth it. I mean, unlike myself, when I say, well, it's a shameless plug for the Sports Circus, I mean, whatever. Yeah, sure, it's a shameless plug for me here and there when I talk about our store, which of course I'm going to after the next break. But my point is, there are some people that actually deserve it, and Jason really deserves it. All right. Well, thank you very much. All right, moving on. Moving on, the NFL with these unbreakable records. We got a few minutes to cover these things. And look, I'm not a fan of Emmitt Smith's career rushing yards because you could have put a German Shepherd back there. And the same thing with his rushing touchdowns. They had a line so big in front of him, you or I could have been in the backfield in Dallas and had 20,000 yards. So I'm sorry, I don't even want to hear. Can you imagine if Barry Sanders or Walter Payton, if Walter Payton had that offensive line in front of him? Imagine if Gale Sayers had it. Imagine if Earl Campbell had it. What about Jim Brown? And the list goes on and on, even Marcus Allen. O.J. Simpson, who was one of the best in the business, never mind all the other crap. I mean, O.J. was incredible. But you think about what could those guys have done? Because they were all, in my opinion, leaps and bounds better than Emmitt Smith. Hell, what about Tony Dorsett? I think Tony Dorsett was better than Emmitt Smith. Imagine what all these guys would have done. I'm sorry, they would have all beat Emmitt Smith's career rushing records and rushing touchdowns and crap like that. But here's one that I don't think is ever going to be broken, which is Jerry Rice's career receiving yards. That's insane, almost 23,000. Really.
That is.
Seriously.
He was amazing. He was a heartbreaker for us in Cincinnati, as you know.
Yes, I do know, if you will. But of course, the next closest player was Terrell Owens at just under 16,000. You're talking about 7,000 yards receiving less. And the only other guy, all-purpose yards. Now, this is a real drag for me because my friend happens to be behind Jerry Rice in total yards, and that's the great Brian Mitchell. And Brian Mitchell, he's still 5,000 odd yards behind Jerry Rice in total yards. And somehow Brian is not in Canton in the Hall of Fame, which I don't even understand that. By the way, I want to acknowledge a very dear friend of the Sports Circus, a friend of mine, and of course his induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that is Jim McNally. Yes! Yeah, Jim, for over 30 years being tied into the Bengals organization, and still to this day has a role with the Bengals. He still works as consulting for them. And I have to say, Jim's one of the good guys in the league, and he's one of those guys that will just give you the shirt off his back anyway, for you. He's just that guy. He'll go to bat for you. He'll put his name out there for you, because if you're his friend, he'll really do what friends do. And I have to say that Jim's one of those guys. If you look back a long time ago, the first time Jim was on our program, the Bengals put out a nice press release for the Sports Circus. Geez, I think this was a solid 6+ years ago, whatever the heck it was. But he is just one of those guys. And I think of a guy like Jim, and I say, well, all right, all those records and all that stuff, and it's about time that Canton, Ohio, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, acknowledges offensive line coaches and this, that, and the other. It's about time they actually do it, and it couldn't happen to a better guy. All right, real quick. Will Brett Favre's consecutive games start 297 ever be broken?
That's as much as it can get after a quarterback these days. That is really going to be hard to break.
Yeah, but remember, it's kind of that we put our hands on the quarterback, so the quarterback's not getting hit these days. I mean, the closest person that came to it was Eli Manning at 199. I mean, it's 98 games less. How about George Blanda's 26 NFL season? Buddy, that's never going to be broken. No way.
I totally agree with you on that, too.
How about Bruce Smith's career sacks? 200. Will that ever be broken? That's 19 seasons worth.
There's a chance, but it'll be difficult to do. But some of these guys that get after it, if they could keep longevity of a career, you never know anymore, because you see that number go up every year, more sacks.
Yeah, remember, now he was a defensive end, and now they changed it to edge rushers. Come on. They have to do that. They have to change the name. Oh, it's an edge rusher. Edge. Give me a break. It's a defensive end. Get over yourselves. How about Derek Thomas's single game sack of 7 in a game? I think that can be broken.
It could be broken for sure.
And I also believe LaDainian Tomlinson, single season touchdown of 31, that can be broken as well, because there's so much money tied to this stuff. Real quick.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to throw a couple at you real quick here in the last minute of the segment. Sammy Baugh's 4 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions in a single game. That's crazy. That will never be broken.
That's pretty crazy.
That's insanity. And here's Jim Hardy, record of throwing 8 interceptions in one game.
I can't imagine a quarterback being left anymore with that happening.
I know, right? Short leash. Don Shula's 347 career coaching wins, that can be broken, and it will be broken.
I agree.
All right, last one would be the Buccaneers' consecutive losses at 26 games. I don't think that'll ever be broken.
No, I really don't think so either. They get them in and get them out and don't settle for that in most organizations.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, when I look at that, I say, all right, that's the end of that rodeo. And so, look, everybody's got a short leash now. All right, back here with the final segment, talking baseball. When we come back, don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the Sports Circus.
She got a great ass, and you got your head all the way up it.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi Code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, as I mentioned in the last segment, make sure you go to the sportscircus.com's store. Yes, there's a tab right across the top of the page and it says store. And listen, have a look. You may like some of the hats, t-shirts, coats, sweatpants, beanie caps, pillows, mouse pads, and travel mugs and coffee mugs, all kinds of neat stuff over there. Check out the Sports Circus store. You might find something there you like. Maybe you won't, but you might find a nice gift for someone too. And if you mention Ringmaster Sal, you'll get an extra 10% off without doing anything more. Yes! A shameless plug, as I mentioned, for the Sports Circus. Lots of cool stuff there, folks. And all American-made products, too, by the way, in case you're keeping score, because that's what we do here. All right, welcome back to everybody on TV and radio. You know who you are. Back here with Jerry from Kentucky. And Jerry and I are going over Unbreakable Records. And how about some of these in baseball? Look, this will never, ever, ever be broken. Most career complete games. Cy Young, 749. That's insane. I don't think there will ever be anybody that will do that. And let's face it. I mean, even if Clayton Kershaw completed every game he started, he'd still only have just over 400 complete games. Imagine that. And this guy's been in the rodeo for a long time. How about, hold on, Bartolo Colon, if he completed every game he started through his 21-year career, he would only have 552 career games, complete games.
And then there's closers now, too, so you don't even ever hear of too many complete games as it is.
I know, but imagine if they just went front to back in every game. So when we were kids, I mean, that's what we were built to do. I don't know if you ever played baseball, but I sure as hell did. What we were, our job was to do what? Go front to back in the game. Face adversity, get over the bumps and bruises of it. Get over it, kid. You'll be fine. Get out there and tough your way through it. That's how you build character. And that's what the game is missing today. Agree or disagree?
I totally agree.
Do you think musicians face the same thing when they face a little bit of adversity in the crowd?
I didn't hear that last part. I'm sorry, the first part.
Do you think musicians face the same thing when they're on stage and maybe they're not having a great performance? Do they face a little adversity? How do they get through it? They just have to get through it. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. There's always going to be hecklers. I think you just have to take that with a grain of salt. And, Jason will laugh it off. I'm like, so-and-so would say this or do that. And he's like, that's just all part of it. You're never going to please everybody. There's always going to be a hater out there, but you just don't take it personally and you go do your thing. And you see all the people that are enjoying themselves. So there's always somebody that's going to want to try to ruin it for somebody, but you just can't take that too seriously and just do what you do.
All right, in case you're just tuning in, Jerry had mentioned Jason. In case you don't know who Jason is, he's going to tell you all about Jason.
Jason Owens, he's my son. He's a up-and-coming country artist, and you can find his music anywhere you stream music. Just type in Jason Owens. You can find him at jasonowensmusic.com, and on any social media platform, you find him at Jason Owens.
There you go. Another little plug for Jason because he's a good guy. All right, how about this? How about most career shutouts? Walter Johnson with 110. I mean, let's face it, the sad fact is pitchers rarely complete games, as we mentioned, but to break this record, a pitcher would not only have to complete more than 110 games, which they don't do, and allowing a single run during any of those outings. And, of course, pitch count is a big deal now, right? Oh, well, we can't let him go over 100 pitches now for some strange reason. And, look, 110 shutouts, buddy, that one's not going to be broken.
I totally agree with you on that as well. Never will be broken.
Right. All right, let's move on. How about most career wins? How about Cy Young with 511 wins? That's crazy. Imagine a pitcher averaging 20 wins per season for 25 years. Well, guess what? That's what they're going to have to do to break Cy Young's record. Buddy, that ain't happening.
Not at all.
No, I mean, look, in the modern game, Starting pitchers basically get, about 5 innings? Oh, I can't throw anymore. My arm hurts and all this other crap. Oh, you've got 100 pitches. We can't do it anymore. No. And it's just so frustrating to hear all this rhetoric and all these analytics and crap. Oh, well, we have the spin rate. We have the exit velo and all this other crap. They have turned baseball into, I hate to say it, but a little, well, it's something that, when you itch, right? When you have a scratch, what do? You itch it. Or, when you have an itch, you scratch it, right? Well, and so what happens when you have an itch, but then you put the second letter in the alphabet in front of it? Yeah, that's what they've turned these pitchers into at this point, because honestly, it's an abomination to the game. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And frankly, I think the whole thing stinks. And that's just how I look at it.
Hey, bud, what's your problem?
I mean, honestly, it is embarrassing. So most career wins, no, that's not going to happen. How about this one? How about most career stolen bases? Now, Ricky Henderson has 1,406, rest his soul. And remember, Ricky was playing in a league where the bases were smaller and there was no more automatic advancement to a base on the third disengagement crap to the base. So in other words, if there's been 2 disengagements, the runner knows I can go because the pitcher's likely not going to get me anyway. And so the bases are bigger. Now, guys like Ellie De La Cruz, look, Ellie, it didn't matter what era he played in, Ellie would steal the bags anyway. Ellie is easily the most exciting player in baseball. Truly is. And I'm not saying that because you're in Cincinnati. No, he really is. And folks, if you don't have a rookie card of his, go get a rookie baseball card of his. Try to find a 2021. Those are the good ones. All right. Can that be broken, Jerry? Yes or no? Come on, man. What do you got?
I think it can be broken, but it's going to take a special player, somebody like Ellie. But they're going to have to be stealing more bases than they have been in the last couple of years to even come close.
I think Ellie's got a shot to do it. I really think so. And I was talking to Rajai Davis. He's a friend of the circus. And he was one of our analysts for a while. He had 422, and he was the active leader a few years ago. But then there were some changes to the league that didn't work out for him. And so, I mean, let's face it, he had a lot of stolen bases, but he didn't have anywhere in the area code. However, you take a guy like Ellie, I think Ellie's got a real shot to do it. I really do.
I can see it happening, but it's going to take a lot.
A lot. Speaking of a lot, how about Cal Ripken's 26-32? Will that ever be broken?
I don't think it will, because just to be able to stay in the lineup day in, day out with the grind, I just don't see that happening. They always want to rest people as it is, even if they're not hurt.
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way. You got some guy that needs to come into the league, play 16 years in a row, and play every game. And with load management and all that other garbage, it's not going to happen. No way. Moving on. How about the highest career batting average? Ty Cobb, 366. Buddy, that ain't never happening again.
No, not with all the pitchers in the league. I just don't see that ever happening.
Well, yeah. And plus, they're using a seemingly a wound tight baseball, so the ball does travel further. Everybody gets a home run. It's kind of like everybody gets a trophy now. But to hit 366, the only guy that could hit 366, I would think year in and year out in today's game, if he was given all the latitude, would be Luis Arraez. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, he's won 3 batting titles in a row, but even Arraez has to go on a tear, which he can. He looks like Tony Gwynn up there. He's got bat speed like Tony Gwynn. He sprays the ball like Tony Gwynn. Now he plays for the Padres like Tony Gwynn. But can he hit 366 for the rest of his life? I don't think so.
No.
All right, moving on. Most career triples. 309, Sam Crawford. Sam Crawford did this way back in the day, but let's face it. The only hit more rare than a home run is a triple. And you've got to be in the right circumstances. You really do. And the active leader, I think, is Charlie Blackmon. I don't even know if Charlie's even playing anymore. He had 63. This guy had 5 times that number. Let's move on. Let's move on. How about most career strikeouts? Nolan Ryan, 57-14. Buddy, that ain't getting broken. Sorry.
No way.
Moving on. Career on-base percentage, Ted Williams, 482. What?
It's crazy.
Lunacy. I mean, the best active player right now, and let's face it, it's Juan Soto, just over 400. And this is 482 for the career. How about longest hitting streak, Joe DiMaggio, 56? Forget it. It ain't happening.
In my lifetime, there's only been one other person even to come close.
Oh, here we go. Hold on. Let me help you with that. I know. You're going to say Pete Rose.
I didn't say anything.
You don't have to say it. No. No, I already know where you're going with that one. No, Pete, and I remember Pete had, I think, 44 thereabouts, 44 games. And then it was
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I forget the pitcher that got him, but the pitcher was very average. How about total walks? Barry Bonds. He didn't have to juice up to get those walks either. 2,558 walks. Man, that's a lot of walks. I can't see anybody coming near that. No, I mean, Joey Votto had 1,365, and Joey was a hell of a player. All right, moving on real quick. The Pete Rose hits thing, will it be broken? No, it won't be broken. Oh, yeah, that's right. It did get broken, and that was by Ichiro Suzuki, in case you're keeping score. Yes! That's right. It's actually Suzuki who is the hit king, not to be confused with Pete Rose. But Pete, he did what he did. But anyway, sorry, it's Suzuki that's the hit king. How about most career no-hitters? Nolan Ryan, 7. I don't think so. What do you think?
Never. No.
All right. And I think we've got one more. Oh, yeah, that's right. Most career doubles. How about Tris Speaker? 792 doubles. That's crazy.
That's definitely crazy.
I mean, look, Freddie Freeman hit, about 59 last season? But you got to do that for how many? I mean, for a decade and a half? Give me a break. It ain't happening, buddy. Hey, listen, I'm going to go ahead and shut this one down, by the way. And thanks for joining us, Mr.
Well, thanks for having me again, Sal. I had a good time.
Well, it's always a pleasure, and you're always welcome back here on the circus. And listen, you didn't even say 50-odd times this time, so I'm very proud of you. In fact, we're going to give you a round of applause. Right.
Well, it had to be less, or I was going to break a record.
I know. Well, right. Then you would make the list, but there would be a dubious list. All right, that's going to do it for the circus today. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, and we'll see you in about 23 hours right here on your favorite radio station. So until then, so long, everyone.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. B-E-E-P-I-N autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.